Cindy's Kitchen. Tonight I'm going to show you one of our favorite recipes, but made a little differently. I enjoy making homemade sloppy joes and using whatever ground meat we have on hand, be it turkey, ground beef. One time we used bison to make our sloppy joes. And then I use 1 pound of meat and then a can of black beans to stretch the meat, which is about 15 ounces, somewhere around, you know, there. So, but first we're going to make the sauce. So Logan, you can watch me make the sauce. We're going to take a can of tomato sauce. This is just using what we have on hand. It calls for a mix of ketchup and tomato sauce, but I only have tomato sauce, so that's what I'm using. And then we're going to put in a big spoonful of garlic. Alright. And then it calls for 1 to 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, depending upon how sweet you want this. So I'm just gonna, this is about a teaspoon, spoon is about a teaspoon size, so I'm gonna just use 2 of those, because that'll be about a tablespoon of brown sugar. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Everybody's favorite word that's hard to pronounce. So 2 tablespoons of that. That's a really good umami flavor. And it calls for some Dijon mustard. So I'm just going to put a good squirt of that in there. It's kind of like making barbecue sauce almost. And then it calls for onion powder and garlic powder. Whoops. Time to replenish my spices. I use them so much, I am almost out. But I'm going to use what's left of the garlic powder, as it calls for fresh garlic and garlic powder. Gives a lot of good depth of flavor. So we got all those ingredients in. Just going to whisk it. Doesn't that look yummy? Alright. So now we are going to brown the meat. So I'm going to turn on the stove. And I really like my cast iron pan. So I'm going to take this pound of ground turkey. And going to dump it in the pan. Alright. And we're going to brown the meat. I'm going to break it up with this food chopper dealie.
You're asterisk on a stick.
Yes. It's, but wait, there's more. Alright. And I have a little bit of onion left in the fridge. I'm going to throw that in to use it up. Dolly is like Remy from Ratatouille. She's always got to see what's going on. Alright. And while this meat's cooking, let's get the rolls ready to make into sliders. See, I got these nice dinner rolls, and they're just the right size to make into sliders. And Dahlia's hoping that I drop this. Ha 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 ha. Which I won't. Right? Alright, so Logan, you can come back over here. Alright. And I got my bread knife here. So I'm just going to put that there for just a second. And the easy way to make sliders is to just slice them all at the same time. Keep them connected if they can stay connected. So like that. And then we're going to put those in the pan. We're going to put the tops on after we add the meat. So let me do that. So there's all the tops. And then let's do this other bank of them. We love Sloppy Joes, and we had these nice dinner rolls, so I thought, you know what? We'll make sliders this time. So that one didn't separate all together. So, this is slightly bigger than a 9x13 pan. So we will leave the tops for after we add the meat onto the buns. So let's go back to the stove and check on how the meat's progressing. And one nice thing about turkey is it's pretty lean, so you won't really have to drain it.
Would you need to drain it if it was like beef or?
Yeah, if there's grease, you can either pour it into a colander and drain it in the sink, or you can use a paper towel with tongs and just soak up the grease in the pan. Whichever way you have a... Beef usually needs to be drained, but this is lean turkey, so it doesn't really have too much fat. It's mainly just moisture or broth or whatever they package it with.
Now you mentioned you used bison one time. What was that like?
It was very similar to beef. It was just very, very lean. So use whatever ground meat you have on hand. And with Sloppy Joes, I tend to just throw them together. But for the sake of sharing the recipe with you all, I wanted to make one that I could quantify by looking up a recipe. And plus the idea of adding Dijon mustard and brown sugar sounded really good. So, and Worcestershire sauce. That gives it a more depth of flavor. And now that the meat is brown, I'm going to throw in the black beans so I can heat them up. And if money's tight, or you just want to eat healthier with less animal protein, then take a pound of meat and then blend it with a can of beans. Yeah, we often do this when we're making tacos, or we've even made a shepherd's pie using ground meat and beans as the base rather than just ground meat. It's up to you.
Could you use any beans or?
You can use any beans. I think black beans make a nice color contrast. I've even used refried beans to stretch Sloppy Joe mix. So it's actually healthier for you because it's got fiber and protein. So that's all mixed together. So let me scrape off the meat off this little tool here. Alright. Alright, so let me take the sauce. I'm going to add it to the skillet. Alright. Put that over here, so it's out of the way. And I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to continue to mash this together so we can kind of smush the beans a little bit. So we're going to bring this back to a boil with the Sloppy Joe sauce and let it simmer. Whoops, I made a mess. Alright, so we're going to bring this to a boil and let it simmer. And then once it's ready to be put onto the dinner rolls to make the sliders, we'll bring you back. So in the meantime, please like and subscribe and share to your friends, and we'll be right back. Alright, and now we're back, and the meat has come together. And that was about 10 minutes of simmering it and stirring it, so it kind of concentrated the flavors. And look how well the meat and the beans melded together. So we're going to put this on the buns. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're kind of making this casserole style, and then you're going to pull them apart when they're all cooked. So I'm going to put those closer together. And these sliders in a casserole dish are really good because you can add all the toppings and then you bake them to meld all the flavors together and melt the cheese. And if they're a little sloppy, that kind of goes with the theme because they're Sloppy Joes. They're not neat and tidy Joes.
Hey, you could do that for another episode. Neat and tidy Joes.
Teddy Joe.
Alright. And we've got extra sauce, extra filling rather. So we're going to make some nice and thick sloppy joes. And as far as the meat and the beans combination, it tastes really good, and a lot of people can't really tell. And I've even known some people to make their sloppy joes out of lentils. Just lentils, not meat. And it tastes really good. So if you want to economize and use beans or any kind of legumes instead of meat, or to stretch meat, it works out really well. And it's extra filling too. So these are going to be some nice thick sandwiches. And I got some fresh pickles tonight. I really enjoy pickles. So I'm going to put 2 on each bun. If I can get them to come off here. Alright. I'm going to dump them on there, then spread them out. And the dishwasher.
Sounds like the laundry.
Oh my goodness. Laundry, you know, the never-ending story of the 80s was a movie. The never-ending story of my life now is laundry and dishes.
You know what they say? There's at least 3 things in life that are for sure.
Yeah.
Death, taxes, and laundry.
Yeah. Alright. So, I'm going to put pickles on here. I know it sounds strange having pickles and cheese on sloppy joes, but you know what? We all like pickles and cheese on our burgers from McDonald's and other fast food joints, so why not? And these are bread and butter pickles, but they do have a real nice tang, even though they're technically a more sweet pickle than dill. Because dill is a really big dill, but I like bread and butter pickles too. So, and I've got the oven at 400 as I'm chasing the stupid pickles around the jar here. Alright. Pickles add a lot of flavor. And the other topping for sloppy joes that's really good is cabbage. So shredded cabbage works really well. Alright. Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
That looks really good.
Yeah, and these pickles are being very elusive. And the dishwasher is steaming my backside while I'm standing here. Not to be on the TMI side, but...
Well, it's a working kitchen.
yes. Alright. Cheese, cheese, glorious cheese. And Dolly is waiting for things to fall on the floor. Like the other night when I was making the breakfast tacos and little bits and stuff was popping out of the skillet. She thought it was just like magic. Falling from heaven here.
Like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah.
Food falling from the sky.
That movie was a crazy concept. Alright. So, we're going to put the buns on. The tops, rather. And I think this is the short side. One side of buns came out a little on the short side, but you know what? Nobody's perfect. Alright. So we're going to put these in the oven for just a few minutes to bake through. Likely about 10 minutes. Dahlia, move. Alright. Yikes, I still got a pan in there. That's how busy we are. Alright, I'm going to put those in to bake, and we'll be back with you soon, and I'll show you what the yummy finished product looks like. Alright, we're back. And our sloppy joe sliders have baked, which is kind of a funny choice of terms because we're recording this on 420. So that's what the sliders look like. So in order to avoid burnt and scalded tongues, we're going to pause for a few minutes and let these puppies cool off so we can have a taste test. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share to your friends, and give us your feedback, and we'll be back again soon with a taste test. Well, we now have the sloppy joe sliders cooled off. I even put them in the fridge so we wouldn't scald our tongues when we taste tested them. So, Logan, give it a taste and see what you think.
It all
falls apart.
Yep. That's
It's
why
a
we
s-
eat over a plate.
It's a sloppy Joe. It's supposed to be a sloppy.
Yep.
Not good. It's interesting having it with the pickles and cheese, because usually when you have sloppy joe, it's just the
Yeah.
sloppy joe mix, so it adds a nice mix of flavors. It is really good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. And we'll be back again soon with another recipe for you to try. Have a nice evening.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, and neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.